Prodigy saw the world differently. He had to. Growing up in the concrete jungle of New York City, he was surrounded by a whirlwind of activity, a cacophony of sounds, and a mosaic of faces. The city was alive, pulsating with energy, but it was also a place of stark contrasts. Growing up in the concrete jungle of New York City gave him a unique perspective. The towering skyscrapers, the bustling streets, and the never-ending hustle were all part of his daily life. But beneath the surface there was a different story, one of struggle and survival. It was a world of shadows and light, hope and despair. The city was a place where dreams were made and shattered, where the line between success and failure was razor thin. Prodigy saw both sides of this coin, and it shaped his worldview. He saw the beauty in the struggle, the resilience of the human spirit. People who faced adversity with unwavering determination, who found ways to rise above their circumstances. This resilience was a source of inspiration for him. But he also saw the darkness, the violence, the systemic failures that trapped so many. The city was a place of contradictions, where hope and despair coexisted. Prodigy was acutely aware of the challenges faced by those around him. He poured these experiences, these contradictions, into his music. Every lyric, every beat was a reflection of the world he knew. His music was a way to process the complexities of his environment, to make sense of the chaos. It was raw, unflinching, a reflection of the world he knew. His performances were charged with emotion, a cathartic release of the pain and frustration he felt. The stage was his sanctuary, a place where he could be his true self. Hip-hop was born in the streets, a cry for help, a scream of defiance. It was a way for the marginalized to have a voice, to tell their stories. Prodigy embraced this ethos, using his music to shine a light on the issues that mattered to him. It was a way to articulate the pain, the frustration, the anger of a generation forgotten. His lyrics were a testament to the struggles of his community, a call to action for those who felt unheard. Prodigy's music was a rallying cry for change. Prodigy and his partner Havoc, as Mobb Deep, became the voice of that generation. Together they created a body of work that resonated with millions, capturing the essence of life in the concrete jungle. Their music was a lifeline for many. Their music was not a glorification of violence, but a chilling portrait of survival. It was a stark reminder of the realities faced by those living in the margins, a powerful narrative that demanded attention. It was a mirror held up to society, forcing it to confront its own reflection. Prodigy's music challenged listeners to see the world through his eyes, to understand the complexities of life in the concrete jungle. It was a call for empathy, for change, and for a better future. The Infamous, a title that resonates deeply within the annals of hip-hop history. The title itself speaks volumes, echoing the struggles and triumphs of a generation. This wasn't just an album, it was a declaration, a manifesto of survival and resilience. It was a raw, unfiltered look at life in the projects, a candid portrayal of the harsh realities faced by many. It was the sound of sirens and gunshots, the smell of concrete and despair. Tracks like Survival of the Fittest and Shook Ones Part 2 became anthems of the streets. These songs weren't just anthems, they were warnings, cautionary tales of a world where danger lurked around every corner. They were stories of life and death, of young men trapped in a cycle of poverty and violence, struggling to find a way out. Prodigy's lyrics were stark, unflinching, and brutally honest. He didn't sugarcoat the truth. Instead, he laid it bare for all to see. He spoke about the realities of his world, the constant threat of violence, the struggle to stay alive, and the ever-present shadow of death. His voice was cold, detached, a reflection of the emotional armor he had built up around himself, a necessary shield in a world that showed no mercy. He had seen too much, experienced too much to be anything but hardened. His words were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a chronicle of survival against all odds. The Infamous wasn't just music, it was a movement, a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of truth in a world shrouded in darkness. It connected with people on a visceral level, resonating with those who had lived similar experiences, and even those who hadn't. Prodigy and Havoc's collaboration was more than just a partnership. It was a brotherhood forged in the fires of adversity. Their music was a lifeline, a way to navigate the treacherous waters of their environment, and it left an indelible mark on the world of hip-hop. The Infamous remains a timeless piece of art, a powerful reminder of the strength and resilience found in the face of adversity. Prodigy's life was a constant battle. Every day was a new challenge, a new fight to stay alive and keep his dreams afloat. not just against the streets, but against his own body. The streets were tough, but his body was an even tougher opponent. Sickle cell anemia, a cruel, debilitating disease that racked his body with pain. It was a relentless adversary, never giving him a moment's peace. It was a constant reminder of his own mortality. Every ache, every bout of fatigue was a stark reminder that life is fragile and fleeting, but it also fueled his art. His pain became his muse, his suffering a source of inspiration. It gave his words a haunting urgency, a sense of desperation. His lyrics were not just words, but cries from the depths of his soul. He poured his pain into his rhymes, transforming his physical suffering into lyrical mastery. Each verse was a testament to his resilience, his refusal to be defeated. You can never feel my pain. The title itself is a cry of anguish, a plea for understanding. It was more than just a song, it was a window into his world. He spoke about the constant fatigue, the excruciating pain, the endless cycle of suffering that defined his existence. The feeling of being trapped inside his own body, a prison of flesh and bone where every movement was a struggle. He didn't want pity but recognition. He wanted people to see his strength, his courage in the face of relentless adversity. He wanted the world to understand the invisible battle he fought every single day. A battle that was as much mental as it was physical, a fight for his very soul. The system was never designed to help people like Prodigy. It was designed to keep them down, to punish them for their circumstances. His struggles with addiction, his run-ins with the law, were all part of a larger cycle. A cycle of poverty, inequality, and despair. My Infamous Life. His autobiography was more than just a memoir. It was an indictment of the system that failed him. He wrote about the racism, the corruption, the lack of opportunities that plagued his community. He wrote about the feeling of being trapped, of having no way out. He was a product of his environment, shaped by the forces that surrounded him. Section 5. Independent Warrior. As the music industry shifted, Prodigy adapted. He embraced the digital age, becoming a pioneer in the world of independent hip-hop. He wasn't afraid to experiment, to push boundaries, to challenge the status quo. He collaborated with new artists, explored different sounds, and continued to evolve as an artist. His work with The Alchemist, for example, showcased his versatility. Return of the Mac, Albert Einstein. These albums were a testament to his enduring talent. He wasn't content to rest on his laurels. He was constantly pushing himself, exploring new territory, staying true to the streets while expanding his artistic horizons. Section 6. Unfiltered Voice, Unfiltered Pain. Prodigy's voice transcended music. His blog posts, his prison letters, his interviews, all revealed a complex and insightful mind. He wasn't afraid to speak his truth, even if it made people uncomfortable. He challenged hypocrisy, exposed injustice, and sparked important conversations. He was a keen observer of the human condition. With a sharp wit and a dark sense of humor, he used his platform to shed light on the issues that mattered to him, from police brutality to government corruption. He was a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed devoid of it. Section 7. Legacy of a Survivor. Prodigy's life was a testament to resilience. He faced countless challenges, both physical and societal, yet he never gave up. He used his pain, his anger, his experiences to create art that resonated with millions. He was a survivor, a fighter, a true original. His music continues to inspire new generations of artists. His raw honesty, his unflinching portrayal of street life, his ability to capture the complexities of the human experience all left an indelible mark on hip-hop. He was a true poet of the streets, a voice that will never be silenced. Section 8. A Preventable Tragedy. Prodigy's death at the age of 42 was a tragedy, not just for his family, friends, and fans, but for the world. He was taken too soon, robbed of the chance to continue creating and inspiring. But his death was also a stark reminder of the systemic failures that plague our society. Sickle cell anemia is a treatable disease, yet it disproportionately affects Black and brown communities. This is no accident. It's a direct result of systemic racism and inequality in healthcare. Prodigy's death was a preventable tragedy, a consequence of a system that values profit over people. Section 9. A Call for Justice. We cannot allow Prodigy's death to be in vain. We must demand justice. We must fight for a healthcare system that treats everyone equally, regardless of their race or socioeconomic status. We must address the root causes of health disparities and work to create a more just and equitable society. Prodigy's life and legacy should serve as a call to action. We must honor his memory by fighting for the things he believed in: justice, equality, and the power of art to create change. We must never stop fighting for a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a long, healthy, and fulfilling life. Section 10. Remembering Prodigy. Prodigy will always be remembered as a legend, a pioneer, a voice for the voiceless. He was a complex and contradictory figure, but one thing was always clear. His heart was always with the streets. He never forgot where he came from, and he always used his platform to uplift and empower his community. He was a true artist, a master storyteller, a poet who used words to paint vivid pictures of life, death, and everything in between. His music was a reflection of his soul, raw, honest, and unflinching. He left behind a legacy that will continue to inspire and influence generations to come. Section 11. Fighting for Tomorrow. Prodigy's story is a reminder that we are all connected, that our struggles are interconnected, and that we must fight for a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. We must challenge injustice, demand equality, and never stop fighting for a better tomorrow. Let his music be our soundtrack. Let his words be our guide. Let his legacy be our inspiration. We must continue the fight for a more just and equitable world. A world where no one is left behind. A world where tragedies like Prodigy's death are no longer possible.